What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are traditional fans with opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. MF Ghost Season 3, Episode 8. So in this episode, Ren and Kanta go to like a festival or something, like a fireworks, see some fireworks, whatever. Get pictures, enter like robes or whatever. I think it's like one of like the local Japanese festivals, and then after that qualifiers start for the next race. So Shun calls Kanta and basically says he calls Kanta his romantic rival, but he says whatever happens, they're still gonna be friends. So basically, they made peace. They're men. That's how men are. It's like, mm, they get over that stuff quickly. Like, like he's a man. They're like men. We don't hold grudges enough. Those aren't the kind of grudges we hold that long. And yeah, so and yeah, so in this so yeah, so now some of the the qualifiers are start, so everyone's preparing for the next race. There's a lot of the build up, so you have apparently there's a possibility Kanta's leaving for like England after the summer, like after the I guess the MFC like the MF season. I have my doubts about that. Who knows how it goes? But yeah, so this could be interesting to see how it happens. Like how this like what's gonna happen with the race, like Kanta, will he actually win this time? Who knows? And if he does make podium, does he just choose Ren again, or does he choose Ren, or is he just gonna say whoever? And his whole really guess Kyoko is implied to be into Shun. I mean, it seems to be a minor thing, so it may not matter much. But yeah, so it'll be interesting how the racing goes. So yeah, I thought it was a decent episode. Looking forward to the next one. Sends to be a hero, episode 7. So in this episode, Xylo and his group, they're in the port city loft, and basically, so Kivia tells Xylo that he and his group are off the front lines. Their mission is just to protect Tiorita from like heretics that were expelled from the temple. And so yeah, so then while Xylo's still in like the infirmary, whatever, uh, Jace Parteract, who's a dragoon hero who was sentenced to be hero for trafficking drugs they used to buy dragons, then incite a rebellion in order to free dragons. Uh, basically, like he was like a one man like revolution or whatever because he was trying to free dragons. That was how big of a deal it was. So he sees Xylo, learns about, says he heard about Xylo like beating 3 like demon lords, or whatever, like demon blights, but he says that he believes that like other people did most of the work for 2 of them, so he'll say Xylo only beat 1. Jace claims that he beat himself beat 2. Says, well, hey, I win the bet. So whatever wager they made, Xylo gives him whatever money. He's like, I guess Xylo's like whatever. And Xylo's like, he leaves the firm, and he's told that his former fiance Frenchie is in the city. So Frenchie tells Xylo. Now, Xylo says it's Frenchie's his former fiance, but Frenchie says no, it's not former. Basically, so there's a law that bans heroes from getting married. But Frenchie says no, they made their oaths. They'll fulfill their oaths. But it says she's working on she wants to get a pardon for Xylo. And that the reason, but she says the reason she's there in the office to find Spriggan, who's a demon lord that's masquerading as a human. And so, basically, Xylo's group has to lure out the heretics. So Xylo, Tuarita, Kivia, and Sov go shopping. They wear disguises. Two assassins, they try to attack him in the market, but they're killed. Then the group, they run towards the alternate route. They were expected to get some backup from Holy Knights, but the backup never arrives. And they're attacked by an assassin named Cg Bao, who's followed by a heretic group led by Bujum. Jason, his dragon partner Neely, they kill the heretics, but Cg Bao escapes. And Bujum survives the attack, and Turia deduces that Bujum is Spriggan. So yeah, so looks like we gotta deal with another demon blight. So that's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. So obviously you have the some of the coexisters, you have the heretics, all that. So different factions that are after Teorito. Now we'll see how it goes. So interesting. So Xylo's fiance is trying to get him a pardon. I'm not aware. It'd be interesting. So someone who was sentenced to be a hero is given a pardon. That that could be interesting. Like how would someone like that re-enter society if that happened? And so based on the premise, you know, also like it's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. So yeah, I thought this was a really good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Star Trek Starfleet Academy, Episode 7. So in this one, the Academy, cadets, faculty, they're still traumatized over the Miyazaki incident. And now they're all basically scheduled to go on a 4-day break for like All Worlds Day, whatever, it's some holiday, whatever. So the cadets, they leave to go on vacation, see family. Now some have host families they're sent to. And so you have some stuff that goes on. So you have Jaden. He's planning to go to like a beach trip with Kyle, who's like his boyfriend, whatever. But he sees Darum get captured through a portal, and he, on instinct, goes through the portal to protect Darum. And he's there, being a Klingon. He's ready to fight, or at least his version of fighting. Given the world he became recognized as a warrior in his episode. That was such a retarded thing. They need a clean on way to act like a warrior. Whatever. But turns out Darren was captured in it's like a wedding abduction thing practiced by the Kanoans, like the Kanoans or whatever. And Darren explains that Jaden is his hosing, basically a best man for the way. So it's revealed that Darum is meant to become a co-ruler of Kanoia with his, fiance, who will be his wife. So basically, then, and so his fiance's name is is Kara. So, and basically, so I guess she's part of the royal family. Her parents are about to abdicate, I guess due to health reasons. And so once the marriage happens, basically the abdication will happen because basically there has to be two on the throne. And so Darren wants to stay at Starfleet Academy, but he also wants to help his people, and he actually cares about his fiance. And so basically, T and Jane have a falling out due to that, and basically Jade offers his support for the couple, and then Kara tells Darren that like just basically she doesn't want Darren to just go through with the marriage just to for for him to do it for the sake of her, for the people, not do it because he wants to. And like she says for Darren to call off the wedding, and that in order for like Darren to be able to do fulfill his own wishes, whatever, and that she'll just rule by herself. And yeah, so Darren then goes back to Starfleet Academy, and then so meanwhile you have Caleb wants to stay on campus. Basically, he doesn't want to like deal with other people, I guess, or whatever. And he wants to be able to send message, try to send a message to his mother, who still has never responded. And he's trying to relax, not think about like Tarima, who's on Beta Z recovering. But she's woken up from the coma, but they haven't spoken since then. Ake approves it. Now, Caleb, while he's relaxing, is confronted by Genesis, who's also stayed behind. Now, Genesis, at the beginning of the episode, was told by Ake that due to, I guess, her actions during the Miyazaki incident, that Ake is recommending Genesis for pre-command track, basically to where she could be a captain. And Genesis, so she basically claims to Caleb that she hacked like travel logs so that she would be able to stay behind. And and like they get into some hijinks, come up with some random games. Now, and they're trying to hide from Jet and Lura, who are guarding the whole like the academy. And Genesis wants to break in for her and Caleb break into the bridge so she can sit in the captain's chair. And Caleb's like, oh, that might be a bad idea. And then they do it, and they mess around, try, and Genesis engages the warp core. Caleb's like, belay that now. And so Genesis was trying to use his warp core as a distraction to try to hack into the ship's systems. Jet catches them and summons Aki back to discipline them. So it's explained that the reason Genesis um, wanted to hack into the Starfleet is she was trying to find her application into Starfleet Academy, and she was trying to find the recommendations and like either delete them, change them or something because of so her recommendations said that like what the real words were that I guess something about her having fear and stuff like that. Basically, that like where it pointed out her flaws. Something a recommendation for a base, which is essentially a military school, would have. When it comes to how a cadet and something would deal with high stress situations. Because I mean, this is a military school, even though you have a war college and Starfleet Academy. No, they are both military schools. Yes, you want to know how they can handle some types of high stress situations. And Genesis being I guess being an admiral's daughter, thought she needed to be perfect and everything. Aki's like, look, we're all flawed people. You don't need to freaking do that. And I was like, she really hacked records, did all this in order to delete some recommendations when she was already doing well, very well at the school. at Starfleet Academy to where these recommendations, like she's already proved herself in the eyes of the retards that run Street Starfleet Academy. I mean, look, let's be real. There ain't a lot of options for Starfleet, like for given how retarded everyone is. I mean, there's not a lot of options. But guessing the eyes of the people who run Starfleet Academy, who are above Ake, like Genesis may have, I guess, proved herself by those standards. Low standards, but standards. So Ake withdraws Genesis' nomination to the pre-command track and sends his Caleb and Genesis to some manual labor. And yeah, that's how. And so Caleb then sends a message to Karima, saying about how he feels about her, blah blah, explain why he reacted the way he did to her being inside his mind. And yeah, so yeah, I this was a freaking terrible episode. Like, holy crap! And like, here's the thing: you had a now there's hinted that there's something going on with Sam, like some of the glitching, whatever. Now, okay, and uh there's some retarded crap in this. So so you have Sam goes to a spa. I I'm just wondering how a holiday goes to a spa. Like that is just my question. How does a holiday go to a spa? Like there's a like why? Like it's not even like a holodeck thing where there's a program. Like basically someone put a spa program within the holodeck. Some starships have. Like it makes some sense, but gosh, why is it it's a freaking hologram? Like, besides the many issues that exist with this hologram, due to like how retarded it is, that like whoever programmed it clear like if you want to prove that AI will not fix everything, look at which AI, because Sam was programmed by AI. Like that seems I'm pretty sure that Sam was programmed by AI, so it is safe to say that the existence of Sam proves that AI will not be these big overlords. Is that yeah, look what happened at some planet that where AI took over. The AI made this retard. Anyway, so as far as like Janice's motives were to just delete, so oh she has no fear. Well, let's see. Anyone that doesn't have fear in some of the situations that happen would have to be like basically retarded. Like yes, there's probably fear, but how you handle the fear is what matters. And gosh, and like the no one can freaking act in this. And like, dude, the wedding stuff, it was like, you had Darren who was trying to, take care of his people. He was there for his people. It was for so it was a arranged marriage. Now it seems to have been well arranged because it's not like they hated each other. It was a arranged marriage that was what looked to be well arranged in the sense that like, okay, it's not like you have two people that hate each other that are forced to marry. They actually genuinely care about each other, and you have the whole like like, oh yeah, no, no, I'll know the wedding. I'll rule myself. I'm like, what? Like, are you sure you want to do that? Like, gosh, like, it's so freaking dumb how to do it. Like, how this show is. Like, yeah, I mean, uh, like, it is so retarded. Like, who the frick let this, gosh. Like, all the bull rapping. It's like, this is such a terrible episode. Like, it is objectively bad. Like what were the writers thinking when making this? Like, I thought this was a crappy episode. Like, it was freaking terrible. Yeah, I thought it was a freaking terrible episode. Unfortunately, I'll watch the next one until like this show ends. Mercy for None. So this is a Netflix show based off a webtoon called Mercy for None: Plaza Wars. It's been compared to John Wick and definitely earns that comparison. Now, no one kills a dog, but it's about vengeance for the death of a brother. So, okay, I did not know this show released last year. Like, I don't know, it was like Netflix just didn't market it well or something. I don't know. Netflix does either market their stuff better. There's a lot of stuff that basically like is like not noticed. Anyway, so in this, Gi Jun is like he's a mob. He was a former mobster. He like damages the tendon, whatever, so that he could leave like the criminal life behind. Because I guess how he did it, like he weakened his fighting ability, and yeah, so then yeah, and basically that made peace because like there was about to be a basically a game war. Yeah, so and then now what happened now? Kijun was part of the Beyond Myeongdong. Like that was like the basically there was one gang. Like Chairman O was in charge. The right hand men were Lee Ju-woon and Gu Bonsong. And so basically, and now the reason why he had so here's basically how it went down. So there were rumors that O was gonna the leadership pass on leadership to Ju-woon and Bonsong. But O's son, Seon Wong, was pissed off about that, so he tried to have Bong Song and Ju-woon killed. And, basically, you know, Gi Seok, who was Gi Jun's brother, was lied to by a dirty cop named Cho Yongdo, who went by Mr. Kim. Like, basically, Yongdo told Gi Seok that Seon Wong was gonna kill like his bro, like kill Gi-jun, so Gi-seok killed Seon Wong. Now the whole gang was like basically like like the gang was like met like they were like, oh crap, what we do. So Gi-jun's idea was he wanted to protect his brother, so he had he encouraged Juwon Bonsong to stage a coup over O, and so the three of them overthrew O, and so the gang ended up being split up into Bongsong and Juwon groups. Now, since like basically, and Gijun decided to take the fall for the whole thing, and so basically everyone believed that it was him and not his brother that killed Oh Seon Wong. So the deal was if Gijun left the business and never came back, they would let him live. So and so Gijun that sliced his Achilles tendon or to show his commitment. Since that helped that diminish his fighting ability, and so he disappeared. And so and yeah, so then what happens is that Gisok dies. It's believed a bunch of like some bunch of like young thugs killed him, and like basically it was a hit on like some app called the Graveyard's like a gig economy thing for like I guess a hitman. And so yeah, now they're not able to finish the job. But it turns out that Chairman Gu whose son Ujumo is the one who ordered the hit. And so yeah, so the basically Jumo wants to take over the Bonsong game. And so yeah, so basically Jumo and Gyusok was part of the Bonsong game. So Jumo hiring someone to kill a fellow gang member, that's a problem. And then yeah, so basically and yeah, so Jumo had hired some thugs to kill Bong Song member, the other Bong Song member, and Gu asked Chairman Gu asked Chairman Lee for help. He basically he wanted the son to start behaving, but there's a difference if like he was the one that did. There's a big difference, and yeah, so then they make a deal, and Gisolk is sent to, and basically the reason so Gisolk basically beat up Jumo in order to put him in his place. Jumo basically ordered the hit on Gisolk, basically his revenge for that, and so truth comes out about Jumo that he ordered a hit on Gisolk, and that does not go well, and that starts leading to like yeah, and like that leads to like basically a whole fight conflict between Bong Song and Juwon groups, and Juwon kills Bong Song, and then you also have where Gi Jun learns about his birth death and goes on a one man like search for vengeance, starts killing a bunch of mobsters, and he kills Jumo, and it's revealed, and he learns that basically his thugs were able to beat up Gisulk, but it was they weren't able to do the killing blow, like do the final blow. But Gijong was like, since Jumo tried to kill his brother, Gijong just killed him. And so it's revealed that the person who planned the whole thing was uh Gyun Song, who was Chairman Lee's son. And it's revealed that so Chairman Lee had wanted Gyun Song to not be involved in the criminal, wanted him to have a better life out. And Gyun Song is a prosecutor in the in Seoul's Central District Attorney's Office. So he's basically a prosecutor. He ain't a crook. But then he decided he wanted to become like be a mob boss. And so his plan was take over both Juwon and Bonsong groups, and he recruited Chol Yongdo, and basically they put a lot of the plans into motion, and basically make sure Jumo got blamed for it, and then so Shimane's assassin Guillaume Song sent to actually make sure to finish off Gisok, and so yeah, Yongdo kills Juwon, and Guillaume Song is basically he takes over the organization. He's in charge of both. Then Gijun learns about the whole thing. Like he kills Yongdo, kills Shimane, and he confronts Guillaume about basically a lot of like it's revealed. Like, so the lot of the evidence against Guillaume, they like like based all the evidence is leaked to the press. So Guillaume is basically he's exposed. And so Gimsung tries to kill himself, but Gyunjun, before Gimsung can shoot himself in the head, like lift up his arm or whatever to do it, Gijong with his knife arm slashes at Gimsung's wrist, like basically where his hand's about to fall off, and it's like says you don't get to die like that. Then he slices Gimsung's throat and kills him himself, and so Gimsung just bleeds to death. And Ginjo returns to like a campground that he was like living at, that he was running, and like basically has a bunch of wounds from his rampage, and basically he remembers when Gisok visited Gijo before sometime before his death, and wondering like if he should work with Gijun at the campsite, and basically Gijun had told him to do it, and but basically they had laughing, but there was no leaving the organ like the whole lobster life. So and Gijun dies having fulfilled his goal. Yeah. And that's it. So I thought it was a really good show. Like dude, the action is freaking awesome, and do all like the mobster stuff is cool. Like like how like all the twists regarding like how they like land like the whole like mob war, and like dude, it got like it was freaking good. I thought it was a really good show. You know, obviously the way it ended, they ain't doing. They're not doing season two, but it's a good limited series. I highly recommend watching it. And that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.